Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to explore a really fascinating book by Othmane Wagdi called The Great Reconciliation. It's basically a blueprint for the future, and it asks some pretty massive questions about where we are as a species and the huge choice that's right in front of us.
So, right out of the gate, the book hits you with this powerful question. Are we living in a cage that we've built for ourselves? It's a deep one, and it really sets the stage for everything else, forcing you to think about our modern world and whether we feel truly free within it.
So who's our guide on this journey? Well, the author, Othmane Wagdi, makes it very clear. He says, look, he's not some guru with his head in the clouds. He's an engineer. He's a practical problem solver who's obsessed with the how systems work, how they break, and most importantly, how we can fix them. And his approach is just incredibly ambitious. To get a real handle on our situation, he takes this bird's-eye generalist's view. And this is a monumental task, right? But he weaves together what humanity has learned from advanced science, the deepest philosophy, and even the wisdom from secret traditions to build one unified picture. Okay, so the book is broken down into a few key parts. The first is the diagnosis. I mean, you can't solve a problem until you really understand what it is. And to explain our modern crisis, Wagdi gives us this incredible allegory, the story of Adam Stork in the concrete cage.
You know that feeling, that little voice in the back of your head that something just isn't right? Wagdi calls that our conscious canary in a coal mine. It's that deep gut feeling, an intuitive alarm bell, warning us that the world we've built might not be as safe or as healthy as we think.
And that feeling leads us right to the story of Adam Stork. So imagine a stork. For thousands of years, it's been guided by these perfect ancient instincts. It knows exactly what to do. But then, all of a sudden, it develops this brand new tool, a conscious questioning intellect. That stork, well, that's us, humanity, caught in this kind of internal war between our ancient intuitive self and our new analytical mind. This image just nails that conflict, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the flock. That's the safety of our collective, time-tested instincts. And on the other, you have the lone stork, the individual who uses this new intellect to break away, to experiment, to ask, hey, what if there's another way? That drive is our greatest gift, for sure, but it's also the root of our deepest sense of loneliness. And here's the crucial point. This internal war inside our heads has a very real external consequence. Our intellect, when it gets disconnected from our instincts, has built what Wagdi calls the concrete cage. It's this world of radical urbanization that's choking the planet and leaving so many of us feeling deeply alienated and disconnected. So, after diagnosing the problem, where do we go from there? Well, that brings us to the second part of the book, the crossroads. This is all about the urgent, incredibly high-stakes choice that humanity is facing, like right now. Wagdi calls this our Noah moment. The stakes have literally never been higher. The fog is lifting, and we can see that we have the power to either engineer our own destruction or create a truly regenerative future. The choice we make in our lifetime will probably define the rest of human history. No pressure, right? And here are the two paths, laid out bare. On one side, you have the regenerative existence, becoming stewards of the garden, healing our biology, a real biological homecoming. On the other side is what he calls the transhumanist trap. And it's a trap because it promises to fix our problems by basically doubling down on what caused them in the first place. More technology, more disconnection, literally editing out our humanity until we're just cogs in a machine living in a silicon cage. Now, to describe the system pushing us toward that trap, Wagdi uses some really strong words. He says our current economic model has turned us into zombies and vampires, where we're basically acting like parasites, just draining the planet of its life force. But this is super important. You have to understand that these terms are meant as a warning, not as a personal insult. He's not calling you a zombie. He's describing the roles the system forces us to play. Zombies are the dependent consumers, and vampires are the parasitic systems themselves. It's a critique of the game, not the players. So this brings us to the book's third part, the arc. We've had the diagnosis, we've seen the choice, now we get the solution. And because Wagdi's an engineer, it's not just an idea, it's a tangible, buildable plan called the garden generator concept. And you know, this whole grand vision, it started from something so simple and humble. This is a handmade model of the first garden generator that he actually built during the 2020 lockdown. It just goes to show you that these massive ideas can start as a personal, tangible project to just try and visualize a better way. And from that little model comes this. Wow. This is the fully realized vision Casbah 3000. It's a prototype eco-village, an arc for our time. And what's so cool is that it brings together ancient Moroccan design with the most advanced regenerative technology. It's the best of our past and our future finally reconciled. So what is a garden generator exactly? It's a total reimagining of how we live. Instead of being a drain on the environment, it's a closed-loop ecosystem that's designed to be a net positive contributor. It generates its own power, harvests its own water, grows its own food. It literally turns people from passive consumers into active generators of life. And this brings us to the final part of the book. It doesn't end with a demand or a rigid plan. It ends with an invitation. This isn't something to be forced on people. It's a path that's being offered to every single one of us. To really drive this home, Wagdi quotes Pink Floyd. It's such a powerful message, right? The challenges we face are just massive, but the core idea here is unity and hope. We can't do this alone. And he's not kidding when he says this is for everyone. It's an invitation for the CEO and for the mother, for the academic and for the captain of industry, for our governments, for anyone seeking the truth. It is a call to action for every single member of the human family, because we all have a part to play in building this new world. So in the end, we're right back where we started, with a choice. The problem has been diagnosed, the two paths ahead are crystal clear, and the blueprint for the arc is on the table. The only question left is the one we all have to answer for ourselves. Are we going to start building, or are we going to stay in the cage?